As Denis Villeneuve's latest masterpiece, that is Dune Part 2, sweeps throughout the cinemas with sandworms, we wanted to discuss how faithfully this iconic book has been adapted to the big screen. Because the differences we have observed seem to provide some important clues for the next Dune movie. Attention, this video will contain spoilers for the first Dune book, Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2.
Alia isn't born. In the middle of the book, there is a 5-year time jump during which Paul's sister Alia is born, and by the end of the book, she's a little girl. Those who have seen Lynch's adaptation will remember Alia. As she's preborn, she's born with the memories of all female ancestors, thus speaking like a grown woman even when at a young age. In the film, Lady Jessica is pregnant, but the by at the end of the first film. And Alia is still unborn. Jessica is constantly conversing with her daughter, and in this film they essentially play a kind of antagonist role together. Alia will undoubtedly be born in Dune Part 3, Messiah, but it's hard to guess her age. Those who have read Dune Messiah know the significant role Alia plays. Anya Taylor-Joy will bring this wild character to life in the upcoming films, and they couldn't have found anyone better for this unpredictable and nuanced role.
Chani doesn't live in the book. The film ends on a somewhat sinister note with Muad'Dib's armies heading to wage war against the land's red houses, while Chani goes to the desert in anger and sorrow upon Paul's decision to marry Princess Irulan to become the emperor. While we're not entirely sure what happens here, it's clear that Paul and Chani's relationship will become even more complicated. Seeing Chani's attitude towards Irulan will be interesting, but the most important point will be the chaos brought by the Fremen and what it will do to our lovebirds. Such a situation doesn't exist in the book sippers. Chani is rather calm about Paul taking Irulan as his wife in the book. Paul promises Chani that he won't have any children with Irulan, and Chani agrees. Normally, Chani stays as Paul's concubine, much like Lady Jessica was Duke Leto's.
Fremen divided. In the book, Paul's messiahhood welcomed by all Fremen. One of the best changes they made in the film was establishing clear differences between the more modernist Northerners and the more fanatical Southerners. Paul really has to prove himself, making his ascent to power feel more deserving. And the most significant person opposed to him about this is none other than Chani. To be honest, Chani doesn't have too much of personality in the book, because she just agrees with whatever Paul says. The decisions made by Denis and the team have made Chani a much more human and relatable character. Zendaya's performance was even better than expected. She surprised us.
Thufir Hawat is cut from the film entirely. Thufir, who had a brief role in the first film, is probably the most unfortunate character in this adaptation overall. Thufir is a very sympathetic person with a vital role in the first Dune book. For those who don't know, Thufir believes that everything that happened to the Atreides family is because of Lady Jessica's secret things with Bene Gesserit, and tries to take revenge on her until the last minute in the book. Of course, things get pretty messy and Thufir loses his life at the climax of the story. But here in the movie, he's kinda absent, like nowhere else to be seen. Maybe he died at some point off screen, who knows. This is a bit sad because in the first film, one of the actors who perfectly fit into his role was Stephen McKinley Henderson as Thufir Hawat, and it's unfortunate to see his performance not be continued in this next installment. Also, Villeneuve mentioned that Henderson's scenes were shot and that he delivered very touching and excellent performances. It seems like they had to cut him due to the length of the movie. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Thufir in the theaters, which is perhaps the saddest change in the story.
Jamis' wife isn't present at all. In the book, after Paul kills Jamis and proves himself, Jamis' wife is given to Paul according to Fremen culture. Jamis' wife Hera, although initially not fond of the stranger Paul, gets used to the young boy and becomes a good friend. Removing Hera from the story is sad, but not even characters like Thufir Hawat were given time. It would have been difficult to find time for Hera anyway.
The one who gave drugs to the soldier was Feyd-Rautha himself. This is a minor change, but we think it's a more consistent choice to bring the character of Feyd-Rautha to life. In the book, normally, for the arena scene, Feyd was the real person who actually gave the drugs to the soldiers. He wanted to prove himself as a great warrior by glorifying his own name. In the movie version, it's his uncle, Baron Harkonnen, who arranges this and tests his nephew to ensure he's the right one to entrust Arrakis to. The relationship between Baron Harkonnen and Feyd-Rautha in this film is more ruthless and realistic than in the book, in our opinion of course, which is a welcome addition. Of course, there are plenty of materials cut from the film for the Harkonnens, but if they hadn't cut them or even shot them, well, not as many people would have been able to see it in the theaters, let's just say. There are some brutal stuff in the book.
These are roughly different things, friends. Of course, there are many more detailed changes, but these were the most striking to us and how they affected the course and the quality of the story. What was your favorite and least favorite change? See you, sippers!